When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois, JD and JD hanging out with you on a Sunday night, talking American soccer, doing it better.
I prefer the rod.
Doing it better than some people, not better than everybody. I'm not going to be that guy. Like, oh, we're the best. Oh, wait, no, we call the show the best. I kind of have to lean into that now, don't I? Damn it. What do we do? Are we humble?
10 years too late on the humble stuff, you know?
Okay, so we're not doing humble? Okay, fine. This is the best soccer show. We call it that for a very good reason. We are here, and part of that is you, the listener, the wonderful American soccer fan. Not you, Jared Dubois. You're fine, whatever. I'm talking about the people listening to the show. Obviously, this is our first episode post U.S. Men's National Team World Cup qualifying roster. That is definitely the big news today, right? That's the thing we got to get into. Now, Jared and I did a midweek show where we talked about this, just us analyzing a little bit. We also gave a nickname to the left side of the defense. So what are we doing? Are we doing
like my wife had nickname for me, the Firm.
Well, okay, so that's not appropriate. That's not can't.
Nick's clapping. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Is that a polite golf clap? That was like a par putt from 4 feet.
That's what's expected with the rodeos. That's expected. Well done.
All right, so we called it the Firm. It could also. I was also thinking about this though with Brooks Robinson. By the way, Brooks Robinson is a nice little baseball Easter egg for anybody there. Nick knows what I'm talking about. And then also, obviously, Aaron Long's not there. But if Aaron Long was there, then it would definitely.
Was those like country music names or something? What is that?
No, I'm just saying it would sound even more like a law firm if it was like Robinson, Brooks, and Long. Like, doesn't that sound like a law firm? Doesn't that?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the roster. Obviously, Aaron Long's not on it. And then, and I didn't know, Jared, I think mostly we were going to be here to take phone calls. 717-727-2378. That's your phone number to jump in here. I want everybody to call us and tell us what they think about this roster. How confident are you? Where are there maybe some soft spots? Now, I think this might be the most talented roster that any American coaches had in the beginning of qualifying, but that doesn't mean there aren't some weaknesses here.
Are you saying spots in the roster that aren't firm?
That I suppose that I'm talking about.
Nick didn't clap for that one.
Some soft spots in the roster. I don't. If you have some soft spots, then that's a medical condition that you probably should get checked out. You know what I'm saying? Like you're either the firm, or you're not the firm. You're not. There's no in between. I mean, there is an in between. All right, now we're getting into
there's a major soft spot though that people want to call in and talk about. The major soft spot right now is the fact that Tim Weah is not going to be on this roster.
Right. Now, I will say this, and this is the news that broke today. Tim Weah out 2 to 4 weeks, did not dress for Lille in their game this weekend. The question is, how big of a problem is that? And is this, I'm just thinking about this, Jared, isn't that the strongest part of the roster or the deepest part of the talent pool right now?
Yeah, I think if you're going to have a person go injured and not be able to come up with the main team, I think that position is one of the densest areas of the roster. If it was the Tyler Adams, Kellen Acosta area, we'd be nervous. Even if it was center back, I mean, even though there's a ton of center backs on this roster, it's an A tier and then a bunch of guys that are the bottom B tiers to C tiers in terms of center backs because we just don't know who the right guy is. So definitely if you can miss someone, Tim Weah is not the biggest person to miss up there. It's definitely going to be a weaker person that you're bringing in than Tim Weah. But with Brendan Aronson there to cover, Gio Reyna, Christian Pulisic, the question then becomes a little bit more dangerous if Pulisic can't join the team for some reason. We're talking about a little bit of nervousness.
Yeah, that's another thing that is still, and it was when the roster dropped on Thursday. It was the thing that was kind of up in the air was when is Christian Pulisic going to actually be available to play games? And we don't know. He's going to join the team, or he was flying today. He was traveling today from London, England. And presumably that means they're taking a look at him. they're whatever. I think Thomas Tuchel said that Pulisic was going to be checked out, and if he had tested negative, he was going to be able to play for the national team. Now, here's my concern. And look, I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not a doctor. I don't have innate knowledge about this, but based on my own experience, you can be past the point of being contagious with a positive test and still test positive. And I don't know if Pulisic had any symptoms. Now, I had symptoms, and I think maybe I mentioned this on Thursday. I don't know.
You did.
I definitely talked about it on my radio show.
Jared, it was last Sunday.
Jared, well, I talked about it on the radio show too. Did you listen to do you know I have a radio show, first of all, and did you listen to it?
It's hard for me not to know you have one, but whether or not I listen is another story.
Thank you. I think you went for acknowledging my career, my professional enterprise.
I'm working at those hours. That's the only reason I'm not listening.
I appreciate that. Okay, so I had some symptoms. I'm basically fine now. It's been 2 weeks since I had my first little inkling, and I'm good. But I know that if I take a test right now, I'd probably be positive. So I don't know what that means for Pulisic's availability. Like, I don't know if it's like, well, you can't play at all if you test positive, because then we can't know for sure that you aren't infectious, right? I don't know. I mean, again, this is all speculation.
You would know better than me. I'm not a doctor. You went through it. I haven't gone through it. Obviously, and I'm not sure how much we're giving out on the show. You've had another positive in your house, and did that come from you? Did that come from somewhere else? We don't know the part.
No, probably inevitable that once I tested, that my wife was going to test positive. And again, she's double vaccinated just like I am. So we're not talking about people who didn't do that. Like, there's no ivermectin on my shelves in my. Where would you put that? Is that a kitchen thing or like a? I
think it goes in the shed. What I understand about it should be out in the shed with the paint thinner.
I think you have to, it's
and the DEET.
It's next to the DEET, right? I am vaccinated. She's vaccinated. We're fine. Obviously, Christian Pulisic, I believe, vaccinated as well. So who knows? So there is that concern on top of the Weah thing. Now, I also think that it's very possible, Jared, that with Tim Weah being out, any reasonable chance that Giovanni Reyna might slip into the midfield and play alongside Weston McKennie in any one of these games might be out the window now, because you are now thinner at the wide forward spot, which is where Reyna has played before, right?
Yeah, I think it does put it into. I think it does become. It comes up in the air because can you afford? I mean, listen, you can start Brendan Anderson. That's not a problem. And I think the hard part is getting our heads out of the structure of a 2-game international week where you still could put Gio Reyna in the midfield and you could play Brendan Aronson and Christian Pulisic up top and you'd be fine in a 2-fixture week. In a 3-fixture week, can you really do that when you need to at least start these guys, some combination of all three of those guys in all 3 games, and you're not going to put all 3 for all 3. You're going to have at least 2 games where they're starting. So that means, okay, if you're going to put Giovanni Reyna in midfield, you're going to have to start another option, probably whoever comes in, who gets called in for here, potentially at least 1 game out in the forward 3 of the lineup. And that's, do you want to have to do that or not? If it's Matthew Hoppe, do you want Matthew Hoppe starting one of these games? I don't know. I don't know if he's someone you want to start. And I don't know that he's the guy that you're bringing in. That's what we want you guys to call in, 717-727-BST. Get us a call in. Let us know who's that option. Who's that 26th man that you want to bring into this roster to cover for Weah?
I think Weah was almost certain to start at least one of these games. So again, now you're down a starter, at least for one match. I don't know which match. It could have been, if you're experimenting, so to speak, although Reyna obviously capable, you haven't seen him in the national team picture in the midfield. If you're going to experiment, maybe you don't do that against Canada at home in a game you have to win against probably the best team of the 3 that you're facing. But he was bound to play in one of these games as a starter, I think, based on current form. Now, Conrad's in this team. Yeah. So Conrad could stand to benefit or be the guy, although Conrad more of a left-sided player than a right-sided player. So if you have Pulisic in the lineup, you flip-flop him. What else are you doing there?
If you play Reyna midfield, though, that means you're starting Conrad probably 2 games. And is Conrad at the comfort level for Greg Berhalter that he would start him for 2 games? Because you're only going to get 1 game with both Pulisic and Aronson together if you're going to put Giovanni Reyna in midfield. So I just don't know. I don't see it personally. I think we're not going to see Gio Reyna except maybe 1 game in the midfield, depending on how comfortable he is with the call-up of whoever's going to come up. Because let's not forget, Conrad De La Fuente has 1 cap? 2 caps?
Yeah, he's not a veteran of the team at all. I mean, he's been in the youth program quite a bit.
He's killing it at Marseille. That's great. I mean, looks really
Yeah.
good for Marseille, but stepping up to the international level away in CONCACAF, having your coach having your back, I'm not sure if he's there with him.
Yeah, 717-727-2378 if you guys want to chime in on this roster. And again, who replaces Tim Weah? You mentioned the possibility that it could be Matthew Hoppe. That certainly seems like the most obvious choice because he played wide in the Gold Cup, even though that's not his natural position, and he was good and
goodish.
Okay, goodish. He certainly showed something. Certainly, Berhalter has a book on him, right?
Great change of pace player for the second half of a game. I like that. I like that a lot.
Okay. I wonder though, and maybe this is just maybe I'm thinking about this the wrong way, considering it's World Cup qualifying and whatever, but there's a little bit more. It's a little bit more complicated to get Matthew Hoppe. Although if the injury happened this weekend, or maybe even U.S. Soccer knew about it before Weah didn't dress, I think that's probably true. They maybe have even lined up whoever's going to replace Weah, the last couple days, even before today when travel is happening and camp opens up tomorrow. I'm just thinking in terms of complicated travel situations and potentially dealing with COVID-19 regulations and everything else. Probably easier to call somebody up from here, from the U.S. than Europe, right?
I could definitely see that. And here's the thing. We're assuming he's going to call up another forward. With only 5 midfielders called in, it could be a midfielder that gets brought in. It doesn't
Well, this is the joke that's bouncing around, by the way, from Steve, that says that Greg is going to call in Jonathan Lewis.
I'm assuming that means Jamal Lewis. That can't be Jonathan Lewis he's talking about. This got to be someone faster.
Look, he gave Jonathan Lewis one opportunity in the Gold Cup. It didn't happen for Lewis, and he didn't play him the rest of the tournament. You have to imagine.
But that's a spot on the roster for the whole tournament.
Yes, true, but he learned something that you would think he would carry into World Cup qualifying, and then
learned something that the rest of us learned by watching MLS.
So let me ask. Okay, well then, so let's do this, Jared. Let's just turn it. Let's turn it into a pick your poison here. I mean, it's very simply Matthew Hoppe or Cade Cal.
Yeah, I've got this already lined up because I was ready to do this. Can I give it to you?
Oh, you're flipping it around on me. Okay. All right, go ahead.
I'll start with yours though. Matthew Hoppe or Cade Cal? Cade and Cal.
Matthew Hoppe.
Agreed. Matthew Hoppe, and I'm going to bring midfielders into this because I don't necessarily know that we are bringing a forward for this because he's only taking 5 midfielders. And 8
but why would he have done it the way he did it, and then one injury changes his mindset? You think that's possible? He's like, oh, I got a do-over. I'm going to bring another midfielder now?
If he considers the next forward to be lower on his overall depth chart than the next best midfielder,
so this is like a draft best available situation. That's what you're telling me.
It could be, So Matthew Hoppe or Eric Williams.
Matthew Hoppe. This is the sexy attacking player for me. I mean, I like Eric Williamson. I think he does a good job, but I just don't know when you use him. But as you already described, Matthew Hoppe can be a change of pace player. And if you're telling me oh, you're 1-1 versus Honduras in the last 20 minutes, throw on Matthew Hoppe, see what happens. I'm good with that. What are you going to do with Eric Williamson? Where does he play? When does he play? When do you trust him as a midfield player in this group?
I think into games. I think closing out games. That's where you would want him, and that's the same place I think you'd want Hoppe too, but for different reasons. I think one's if you're chasing the game, one's if you're protecting the game. Matthew Hoppe.
You could also argue that Hoppe is you can throw in an attacker if you are trying to close out a game. If you think that attacker is going to help you hold the ball, you can argue that he may not be a defensive. Sure. He might not be a defensive player, but he can do things.
Because here's the thing. What if Christian Roldan played that position a lot in the Gold Cup, gets put into the forward core, and now you need another midfielder to cover Christian Roldan a bit as well, right?
Christian Roldan didn't play. You're talking about playing wide forward, Christian Roldan?
Yeah, he did. At the ends of these Gold Cup games, he was playing up there. How do you think he got assists? That's where he was.
Well, he played. He was a midfielder who pushed high. I mean, I guess he did.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe we're arguing semantics here, but we're also talking about formation and how Berhalter rolls this thing out. And you and I did talk through the possibilities midweek as to whether or not this is a 5-man back line situation or if he's going to play with a traditional 4-man back line or a more accustomed 4-man back line.
We can go back to the formation in a second. I'm not done with your pick your poison yet. We haven't determined Matthew Hoppe's the guy. Matthew Hoppe or the meme player everyone was talking about when this thing came out. All the Twitter memers, all the Twitter guys were talking about it. Luca De La Torre.
I cannot say...
He was the number one guy that people were kind of wasn't there that I wasn't really expecting.
I mean, okay. Yeah, I know Julian Green's another one, by the way. And those are both
You're
midfielders.
stealing my bit for me, but thank you.
Okay. Well, some people in the chat are bringing up Julian Green, and I have to mention him. I can't say that I think Luca Della Torre is good enough to be in this team. I don't think that's true. I don't.
Just haven't seen him with the national team enough.
There's that. I mean, and again, I think positionally there's some confusion over Luca Della Torre.
Yeah.
Jackie is saying that Luca Della Torre is a defensive midfielder. Maybe he is. Certainly, I think at Heracles was pushed into that position, even though maybe at Fulham he had been higher up the field.
We can't combine club and international to too great of an extent, because by that rationale, Weston McKennie this weekend was a forward. You know, like, is he really a forward? That Juventus was playing him in the center of the forward line a lot. Okay, when they pushed into attack, where was he? Dead center in the front and forward.
We can talk about Weston
There's
McKennie.
A club use and there's international use. When Luca Della Torre saw minutes in the European fixtures earlier this year, he was in a more advanced midfield role. Okay, so Luca Della Torre, Matthew Hoppe, you're going Matthew Hoppe?
Yes, Matthew Hoppe.
And I'm assuming you are instead of Julian Green as well, too, correct?
Yes. Okay, look, but this is where I am on these. This is me, okay? This is not Greg Berhalter looking at tape, watching these games. And D-Mac says, Luca Della Torre is not good enough to be in the team, but Roldan is. I know what Roldan can do. I've seen Roldan in a national team context. I've seen Greg Berhalter use Roldan to good effect. I'm not saying Christian Roldan is a world-beating player that I want starting against Mexico or anything like that.
Maybe Greg Berhalter wants more than one dude that can buy a vodka. Everyone is 19 years old on this team. You might want a Christian Roldan that's been around the block a little bit and has some of that. Has a little bit of experience.
There is some of that. Look, I think Christian Roldan, is
Why do you think Tim Ream's there?
That's exactly. Well, Tim Ream's experience in the national team program, much less just as a professional. Roldan does not have the same international resume that Ream does, but clearly he's a guy that Berhalter trusts. If you are going to just eliminate from your consideration anybody who plays in Major League Soccer, well, I don't know what to say to you, right? I can't talk to you about Roldan versus Luca Della Torre, who's playing in a okay league. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that the Eredivisie is not better than MLS, but it's not so different. It's not like the Eredivisie is so much better than MLS that you can go, well, that's clearly a better choice of player, Luca Della Torre.
I got two left for you. Okay.
All right.
Matthew Hoppe or Del DK? I think I know the answer.
Matthew Hoppe.
Okay. And then last one. This might be a little bit of a weird one for you, but I'm going to say, just because of the connection that's happening, it's happening in the moment right now even. Matthew Hoppe or Jesus Ferreira?
Yeah, I get a couple people in the chat mentioned that already because apparently FC Dallas is just tearing apart Austin.
2 goals tonight. Ricardo Pepe, 2 goals tonight right now. It's only, 40-some minutes in, maybe half.
They need a nickname. Ferreira and Pepe need a nickname together, by the way. Somebody in Dallas has got to come up with something. I'm going to talk to the social media people over there. That one guy, their social media guy got a tattoo for Ricardo Pepe.
The Pepe train.
They got the hype train, El Tren. You got to get a good nickname for Jesus.
There's something to be said about taking the guy that's familiar with the guy.
Man, yeah, okay, but I don't think you're going to play them together just based on age and inexperience and those kind of factors, right?
Like, you get 6 points in the first 2 games, you might.
So you're saying in Honduras there's a possibility that you're already sitting pretty that you might play them both?
We talked in the midweek show that maybe you go your first starting 11 the first 2 games, get 6 points, and then you can kind of get Mimi with it in the third one.
I don't think that you're in a position, if you're Berhalter and you're taking over a team that failed to qualify for 2018, and no matter how good your year was, everything leads into qualifying. I don't think you can even take any game, and treat it as, well, it's experimental. Like, you have to play whatever your best available team is. Obviously, you have tough choices to make based on rotation and everything that we've already talked about. I like Jesus Ferreira as a player, but if you're playing Ferreira and Pepe, you're playing Ferreira where? In one of those midfield spots? And you're getting 0 defense from him? Or you're playing him wide, which is not his position.
Pepe?
Necessarily. No, Ferreira.
Oh, I think you play him one of the front forward positions. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think it's okay. They're doing it at Dallas.
Okay.
They're not both playing the 9 in Dallas.
No, but I think they are. I think they are playing off one another centrally more often than not. But
Okay, so that's my last one. So you're Hoppe over everything then. So Hoppe's the guy. That's the pick for you.
Yeah, if you strip away all the other considerations, Matthew Hoppe is the guy I would want to see. Yes.
Who's
your
I could
choice?
go with that. I would probably go with Hoppe if I'm looking to fill that position, the one that's missing.
Yeah, but you're gonna do
Assuming
that thing where you're turning into a midfield position now, right? That's what you're doing.
there could be a case that maybe you want to take another midfielder. There's only 5 in this. We've got a ton of center backs. You got a ton of forwards. You're an injury during this camp away from being thin in midfield potentially. You know, I mean, you can always bring Gio Reyna back, but like we said, the absence of Weah makes that a difficult decision. So maybe something changes there. But I would take Hoppe. I think that's the call.
Okay. Now, Steve is saying Ferreira can play as a false 9. Yes, but I don't think Berhalter is going to play at any point in these 3 games with a false 9. He's tried.
And we're
that
not making
before.
mention of this, but Chris Mueller is not in our conversation because I don't think he's in Berhalter's conversation.
I don't. I think we're reading the tea leaves on that rather than necessarily saying Chris Mueller's not good enough. And honestly, that's because the pool has passed him by, right? Is that how you feel about it? Like, talent-wise, I mean, Chris Mueller's a nice player, but he is an effort player and he's a straight-line player, and I think Berhalter wants something a little bit different from his wide forwards, right? And like, he is sort of a poor, this is going to sound mean on some level. He's a poor man's Paul Areola, don't you think? I mean, without the defensive work that
The
Areola
haircut, you
gives
mean?
you. Are you saying they have the similar haircuts? Is that what you're
I mean, they
saying?
both go for a pretty wicked fade.
They both enjoy the
If there's a player in the national team pool that's most likely to get a lightning bolt in the side of his head, I think it's Chris Mueller.
Oh, that's a good one. In the pool, that's a deep pool.
Let's
going
say
all the
a
way down
pool
to
of
Chris
50,
Mueller.
because that gets Chris Mueller into it. I think a pool of 50.
Yeah, probably does. But I think there are guys maybe in the first group who could get a
Lightning
lightning
bolt in the side of the head, like Wonder
I
Boy,
mean-
and that the natural.
Like I could see. I mean, I don't know. I could see one of the young guys do. Like I see Brian Reynolds doing something like that. Maybe. No, am I wrong
guess
about
he's
that?
top 50. Yeah, he's probably top 50.
Oh, he's
yeah.
well. I mean, it was in the Nations League roster, but
He's got that
I
kind
don't
of
know.
flair. He's got that kind of like swag.
Maybe I don't think it has to be flair though, right?
No, but my thing about Chris Mueller is I think it's misplaced swag. That's why I say him, because I feel like he's confident he can pull off things that I don't think he can pull off. Like Christian Pulisic in tattoos.
Oh, come on! You don't think he pulls those off? They're like they look weird on him. Is that what you're telling me?
That's yeah.
That's
I don't
not
know, man.
okay. I don't know. Out here judging people with
Oh, for
with
sure.
your widow's
For
with your
sure.
widow's peak and
That's not
I
widow's
don't
peak.
know.
That's receding hairline. Get it right.
well, you're also going like that is. We're doing a lot. Is color in your future? Are you thinking maybe
Color?
it's time to like darken up the?
Why would I do
the-
anything? This is beautiful.
Okay, no, I mean I leave the.
I don't
beard,
know
I'm
why
just
you're
saying.
trying to shame me in some way when I'm confident about myself and I love who I am.
I don't know. You said Christian Pulisic can't pull off the tiger tattoo. I'm wondering if you can't. If
That's an
maybe-
issue of swag. Like I just don't
Okay.
think he has that.
All right. I mean, I think that regardless of swag, I think we both agree that Chris Mueller's time in the national, at least, yeah, Chris Mueller's time has kind of passed because some of those younger guys have matured to the point where
And we're
Berhalter
saying that
cannot
despite the
follow
fact
them.
Orlando's having a good season, and we're still saying that about Chris Mueller.
Yeah, I mean, he's also headed to Scotland after the year, so there's that to consider. I mean, I don't know.
It's
But
like the Sbarro of pizza places. Like it's like, oh yeah, there's pizza there, but that's not pizza.
Have you
Like,
ever
go to
pissed off
Scotland.
a Scottish soccer fan before? Have you ever done that? Have you ever seen the reaction you will get from Scottish football fans? Fitba?
No.
When they are hardcore. You might want to be careful with what you say.
Sbarro.
You could end up with like a
I'll
horse's
spell
head
it
on
for
your
him if
front
it makes
lawn
it
or
easier
something.
for him, because I know in Scotland they don't speak the same language as us. So I'll spell it.
Scottish people have the best accent. It's really the best accent. It's incredible. You have to go like
Sbarro sounds like a Scottish person trying to say Subaru.
I think there's this girl on TikTok who has like 500,000 followers simply because she just says things with her incredibly thick Scottish accent.
Ooh, I wonder if Nick's into her. It's probably like ASMR. He's into ASMR. Maybe he'd be into that girl.
Yeah, we found out tonight that Nick has ASMR girls.
Yeah,
Like,
just tap their
ASMR
glasses
girls.
and it puts him to sleep.
I don't even know where that's
I
headed.
love that he's not on camera right now. He has to
All right.
squirm.
This is what I want to do because we talked about the Tim Weah situation and the question for Burrow, and we'll probably find out by tomorrow morning. So people listening back on the podcast are going to maybe already know who's replacing Timothy Weah. But let's go through the roster again. We did this on the From the Stands episode in the midweek, and if you haven't listened to that, you can go back and listen to it. But now is our opportunity, again, to get people on the line, 877-629-4614. And everybody in the chat, this is why you listen live.
I don't think that's the number.
Oh, did I just do my radio number? I just did my radio number.
WNBC.
WNBC. WNBC.
I'm usually pretty good about splitting those things up. 717.
You ever called your wife by the wrong name?
Not for a very, very, very long time.
Wow, that means you've done it. Jesus.
When we were dating, it happened. I was in a bad place, okay? It was an emotional time.
We all were.
717-727-2378. That's the phone number.
I called my wife mom on accident.
That is disgusting. Why would you say that on the
main thing is because they both start with M and they're 3 letters long, like Meg and Mom.
That's not. You don't get off.
I've called them in my phone too. I just see a number 3 letters starts with M. I've called them on as well.
Oh my God, that is terrible. I have mixed my kids up, and they're separated by 12 and a half years. So
that's worse.
I've called Tiago by the wrong name, and I'm like, oh, that's not.
He'll
your
never
name.
remember.
You're 7 months old. 717-237. 717 oh my God, 717-727-2378. All the numbers are just jumbled up in my head. 717-727-2378. Okay, it's on the screen. If you're watching, you can call us up and talk about this. Let's go back through the roster, Jared, and you tell me how you feel. I mean, if anything has changed, because when you and I responded on Friday, it was pretty much right after this roster had dropped. It was a lot of sort of initial reaction, maybe over time, the last couple of days, thinking about this. And really, we have a weekend of Americans abroad as well to kind of fold into these picks. Not that you would change a lot if you were Greg Berhalter based on one game, but you may have a different idea of where they come into this camp at, right?
Yeah.
So let's start at the back. You have, well, this is actually backwards. Give me a second. Start at the back. George Bello, John Brooks, Serginho Dest, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, James Sands, DeAndre Yedlin, Walker Zimmerman. Jimmy Sands.
I don't think my opinion has changed on any of those. I still feel that I don't know that DeAndre Yedlin's the right choice. The more I think about it, it makes sense if you want to match up with Davies on Alphonso Davies in the Canada game. Maybe that's why Yedlin's there instead of Reggie Cannon. And the Reggie Cannon club situation doesn't bother me too much, to be honest with you, because I still think he's the best defender. Out of the 4 fullbacks that are on this team right now, the best defender isn't on this roster.
So, it's certainly possible that a transfer can be completed while players away on international duty. It's happened before. It can happen again. However, I think it is easier for a player to make a move if he's able to travel, if he's able to make that jump and do those things.
It'd be easier to make a move if he shows he's playing for the World Cup qualifiers and he's worth his skill level.
I think that anybody who is interested in Reggie Cannon's services is going to know that, hey, he is still a first choice national team player for the United States.
They got fax machines in El Salvador, dude. He can sign a contract.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's possible, but maybe it's just made easier. And maybe he asked, or maybe his agent asked. Who knows? Maybe Boavista asked. He's got, 2 days left to get something done before the window closes in Europe. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that could be a reason.
And Eric Holland. Erling Holland. I said Eric Holland?
Yeah.
Erling Holland.
Yeah, Erling Holland. That could be the reason. But again,
I'm worried from a defensive standpoint. I'm worried about wing defense. I don't think there's a good defender. I think George Bello is probably the best defender of all 4 fullbacks.
That's interesting to say because I don't.
Who do you think's a better actual defender?
No. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that would be modeled really scary for
the dude marked Corona out of that game in Mexico. I mean, he did very well against him. I think Shaq Moore's a better defender than all these guys. I think Reggie Cannon's a better defender. Julian Araujo's a better defender than all of them. To be honest with you, did you see his game last night? Did you see his game last night?
He doesn't want to play for us.
We don't know that. Wait till October, dude. Wait till October. You said do what's in his heart.
But why is it? I don't know. He can play for whatever he wants.
I have a suspicion on this. You ready for some conspiracy theory time?
Oh, I wish I had some conspiracy theory moves. Can you do this? Can you do this in the Alex Jermaine Jones voice, or is that not a thing you're gonna do? You're gonna kill your vocal cords. Don't do it.
That dual national un-American Julian Araujo only wants one thing, and that's to wait till October and see who has the most points between USA and Mexico before he joins the team.
That is a cynical ass take.
He's a bandwagoner. If he was American to his core, he would have chosen by now.
That's a really cynical take. You think you think it's that for him that it comes down to who's gonna the better shot?
I'm just saying, it's a nice luxury, right?
I mean, I guess it is, but I I don't know. Look, I don't know why he is waiting. Maybe he's waiting on Mexico, and Mexico hasn't committed to him yet, and so he's holding out for the
rumors
prettier
were
girl.
he was invited to both camps.
Okay, he was going to be on both rosters, invited to both camps, and he turned them both down.
That's the rumor. I don't know if it's true.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe he's just scared. Maybe he's just scared
3
of making
assists last
choice.
night, dude. He was on fire last night. Good.
Yeah, if your team could play better defense, then you would have gotten some. You wouldn't have gotten 3 points.
But
out of that
I would say what worries me from the fullback core is if any of them have to actually play defense. That's what worries me about that fullback core. I know with 3, we're playing 3/5 in the back. Hopefully, that's not as necessary for them, and Tyler Adams is filling those gaps as well. But it's a lot to ask, especially in the Canada game. I'm a little bit worried about that.
I definitely think. I mean, look, you are talking about, you don't really want to put a center back on an island with a winger who's going to embarrass them, but that's why you have Tyler Adams. That's why you play with 3 center backs so that your fullbacks, your wing backs, don't have to defend as much. You're pushing your center backs out wide. You're covering with Tyler Adams. Hopefully you're still defending with 4. You're just defending with 4 in a different configuration, right? So yeah. I mean, all of the signs kind of point to that based on the fact that you are talking about 4 fullbacks who are better played maybe as wingbacks. Although
I'll say that of all the regions of the field, center back actually isn't the one I'm as worried about anymore because I think Miles Robinson can really step in and do a lot of this work. The fullback situation is actually one of the ones that worries me most. And not that we're not deep at that position. I struggle to see how the defensive side of this is going to come together with these guys. So we'll see. But I'm far less. That's probably the area of the field I'm nervous about most. What's yours?
Well, I was going to go through the rest of the roster, but okay, if you want to do it that way. No, I think you have to be worried about the midfield only because it's thin, as we talked about, right? And not that I have any issue with the guys that he called up. Acosta, Adams, Leggett, McKinney, and Roldan. And again, people want to argue about Roldan, and obviously Leggett is also a source of somewhat controversial. I can't. Somebody earlier said something about Luca De La Torre. I can't tell you enough about Luca De La Torre to say he should replace anybody here. Okay, yeah. What I'm saying is I don't have the information. Not that he's not better. He might be. But I don't know that he's better right now in this system, having not played in the Gold Cup or in the Nations League.
And I believe there's a Euro hipster out there that watches every game of Heracles. It ain't me, okay? Maybe he knows something we don't.
Can you even do that? Or do you have to, is this like a Justin TV situation? Like, how do you even watch Heracles in the United States?
It might be like it was back in the early 2000s where I was finding illegal streams of Rangers games to watch Beasley and Reyna.
That's what I'm saying. Like back in the day, you had to close 80,000 pop-ups just to watch 10 minutes of a game before it went back to the ads.
Rojo Tarjeta Rojo or something.
Oh my God!
You remember that site?
About that Directa. I think it was Roja Directa because
Roja Directa. That's what it is.
Yeah. I can't believe
you never knew where you could click. What you had no idea what part of the screen was safe to click.
Oh yeah, every click was like a prayer. Like, please don't give my computer spyware. Please don't give my computer spyware. Yeah. So when we talk about those spots, and again, because it's only 5 players, obviously it's going to create some sort of reaction because you don't have it's not like 8 guys and the last guy is Christian Roldan, right? Yeah. It's 5 and there's only 5.
And let's be honest, there's 2 midfielders in the other areas of this field as well. You have Jimmy the Toucan Sands in the back that can be a midfielder pretty easily, very easily. Some people may say it's his preferred position where he should be. And then you have Gio Reyna, who is playing that role for Dortmund and getting a lot more defensive responsibility than I thought he would when he first took that position. He's really playing pretty far back in that midfield.
All right, yeah, so right. So there is that flexibility. Again, we thought we just talked about whether or not Weah being gone means Reyna is less likely to play in the midfield, but it's still possible. And again, if you go to the forwards, Aronson, Conrad, Pifak, Pepe, Pulisic, Reyna, Sargent, and obviously replacing Weah. Aronson can play wide, Conrad can play wide, Christian Pulisic plays wide, Gio can play wide or in the midfield as we talked. Pifak, Pepe, and Sargent, those guys are out and out center forwards. Really, no other flexibility there, right?
I'll say this though, Jackie D's talking about Green has more of an argument than Luca De La Torre, and I think there's some value in that because what Julian Green gives you that guys like that you don't have a lot of in this is a straight up guy that can create in the midfield, a guy that's actually somewhat offensive leaning in the midfield, which is not something you necessarily would say about Sebastian Leggett or Weston McKennie or Tyler Adams. or Kellen Acosta. Maybe Christian Roldan you can make that argument for. But at least Julian Green offers you something different than what you have on your field already or on your roster already. So maybe that's the direction Berhalter goes, to have a little bit of a hedging of a guy that you can put into midfield late in the game. If you're behind, you need a goal.
Okay. I was just trying to catch up since I haven't had a chance to see Gruther Firth play yet this year. They lost 5-1 to Stuttgart to start the year. They drew with Arminia in match day 2, and then they lost to Mainz yesterday 3-0. So it's been a
1 point
rough
on 3
start.
games.
It's been a rough start, and they've conceded they've conceded 9 goals in 3 matches, Jared. That's probably not what you want. How much of that is Julian Green's fault? I don't know.
He's not a
played
defender, though.
Played 60, but he's not playing as an attacking player. He's playing as a center midfielder with dual responsibilities.
Yeah.
So on some level, he is involved in defending. He's played 69, 90, and 59 minutes. He played an hour yesterday in the 3-0 loss. And again, I don't know if he was pulled off after an hour because that changed, because he deserved to be pulled off after an hour, or if there was a tactical shift or something. Who knows? I do know that Weston McKennie was pulled off in Juventus's game against Udinese, I think against whoever that was. I'm blanking on the club they played. Anyway, he was pulled off because of a tactical switch. I hope Empoli. I hope that's why he came off, because
I don't think he was poor in that game. I really don't.
How much did you watch?
I watched the whole first half. I watched the whole first half till he came out.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
I didn't think he was poor. I think what's interesting is just the role he's being asked to play. It's similar to what he was asked to do last year, where in defense he's playing in midfield, in offense he's playing offense. But I think he was pushed even more into the offense in the center too.
He was definitely asked to play higher in the attacking portion of the game for Juventus, and it did not benefit him. He needs.
Well, last year when he was in the offense, I figured he was usually out a little bit wider in the offense when
he may have played some with some width, but he also played with.
he literally was playing where Morata was playing in the second half.
It was, yes, right. They basically replaced him with Morata for the second half. And Morata wasn't any better, by the way. And obviously Morata is a much more attacking player than Weston McKennie. I thought it was almost completely down to Allegri just getting it wrong. I just thought the whole thing.
I don't know if Rabiot and Betancourt are the guys that are going to create much in transition for you. I think Dybala obviously can do. Chiesa looked good in his moments, but they're missing something in the transition part of the field.
Chiesa was a player on an island. Like, he was doing things, but he was doing things on his own that nobody else was helping him with. They were getting and then they were extremely susceptible on the counter to Empoli, which is how Empoli ultimately got their goal, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was fortunate, Empoli's goal, but Juventus didn't create, and they couldn't defend when Empoli hit them in transition. And you have to imagine if you play. Well, they have other options, right?
I saw some people out there saying that maybe there's agreements with U.S. Soccer or something like that where he was only supposed to play 45 minutes. Maybe that's why Dest didn't start in Barcelona this weekend.
I guess those things are possible, but they were down 1-0 in a game they were supposed to be winning at home. This is Juve at Juve, and they got beat by Empoli, who just got promoted. That's I think Allegri basically went, I got this really wrong, changed things up, and it still didn't get any better. Yeah. So they have some serious work to do at Juventus.
So,
by the way, this is the thing. Well, this is the thing about McKennie and Juventus and all the rumors that we've heard, right? And they've calmed to a certain extent, but now, based on what I witnessed with that game against Empoli, I'm like, yeah, get out of there, dude. Like, go somewhere else. I know you will lose Champions League football probably, but go somewhere else, because that's a mess.
Well, Tottenham's in Champions League, right? They didn't miss, correct?
No, Tottenham is not in Champions League.
Oh, they're not.
No.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Yeah, so listen, if he's got a transition to make, he's still getting called into the World Cup squad. We're talking about other players not coming in because their club situation is potentially fluid. 2 days left in the window. If McKinney's moving, he's with the national team now. So
that's true.
That might say something that he's staying.
Yeah, look, okay. Maybe. Again, Allegri kind of been all over the map with McKennie. There's been reports that he doesn't really like him, that he's not in the plans. Then he starts him against Empoli. Then we're also, just before that, he says, no, McKennie can be an important part of this team, and he can improve, which is always weird, backhanded compliment. Yeah, we like you, and you're going to be part of our team, but also you can improve, which is wild. I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
Speak. That's no. But out of the biggest thing to come out of the Yanks Abroad weekend in terms of what it means for the World Cup qualifying roster is that Tyler Adams left the game unhurt. Back looks good. Like, literally, that's the thing I was watching most this weekend. Is Tyler Adams going to finish this game in one piece and ready to go, and it looks like he's good to go. So we may, for the first time in a very long time, see an actual fully healthy Tyler Adams with Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, and Gio Reyna. That may happen for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it if it happens. Again, we don't.
And Josh Sargent, I should mention.
Okay. I mean, sure, yes. I mean, part of the generation for sure. And
he's the Aquaman of the Justice League, but
throw Serginho Dest in there. Serginho Dest has got to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, but if out of that, if Josh Sargent's part of the Justice League, he's the Aquaman.
Why did you go Justice League and not Marvel? Are you a DC
because
guy?
There's a very easy Aquaman joke in the DC side. What do we say? He's Robin.
Who's the Aquaman of the
DC
Marvel
too.
universe?
Ant-Man. I don't know.
Is Ant-Man? That might be true. Yeah, that might be true. Your superpower is, well, he can get very large sometimes too. So I guess that's a nice thing to have for him.
I don't know, the raccoon?
Who did you call Iron Man on the midweek show? You called somebody Iron Man. I don't remember who it was.
Clint Dempsey.
Oh, Clint Dempsey.
Because with his voiceover, they came in and made me feel all good about the U.S. national team.
Yeah.
Gavin fifth goal in Dallas, but it's not Pepe.
Yeah, Gavin says that Hawkeye is the Aquaman of the Marvel universe.
At least he's got a bow and arrow. It's kind of badass. Aquaman's got a trident and rides a dolphin. Come on.
I don't know, man. That's okay. Yeah, okay. I'm with you on that. All right. So Weston McKennie, unhurt, but obviously his club situation not completely clear. Adams unhurt, as you said. John Brooks, in the winner in that game against Tyler Adams and RB Leipzig, also healthy as far as we're aware. That's the thing here. Except Tim Weah, pretty sure everybody else is good to go, right?
Yeah, it seems that way. I can't think of anyone that's come up with a knock. I mean, we still have some more to play. Pepe's obviously in a game right now. I mean, there's
get him off. They're already. It's over. Get him off.
You've got Roldan playing a little bit later. If Eric Williams is a candidate, Portland's playing later today. But it looks like Roldan's the only other person we have to keep injury watch on as the day finishes out.
Okay, so let's turn to what's coming on Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. I made my days right here. Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. It's all happening within a week, right?
It's Friday. I'm in love.
Okay, yeah, sure. We are going to be live after the game on Thursday night. It's going to be like a midnight kickoff for the show because it's a 10 p.m. kickoff in El Salvador for the U.S. Men's National Team.
We'll be live afterwards.
But we will be live taking phone calls right here, so make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Click the bell on there. You'll get notified when the show goes live.
That. Also, I believe this is streaming on my Twitter account at DavisJSN. If you want to go over there and see it there. Any thoughts, anything building up to that, let us know, and we'll make sure to get them on that show. Before we get to a game that Jared Dubois, I believe, has prepped for this evening, a little bonus, a little fun, little
get ready, Nick.
Stress release here, a little ASMR style stress release for us ahead of World Cup qualifying. Let's just go back through this one more time. El Salvador, Canada, Honduras. Away, home, away. Jared Dubois, tell me what do you expect here? How do you think this is going to go? And El Salvador is an improving team, but clearly a team the United States would be much better than on paper.
Yeah, I think, and I kind of said it in the midweek show, and I still feel the same way now, where if I'm Greg Berhalter, I'm going guns blazing first two games. El Salvador is the winnable away game. They're all winnable with this team, just to be honest. But I would say it's the most favorable matchup that you're going to get in this first three fixtures away. You put a full-strength team out there. You go with your true starting 11. You try to get 3 points on the road. Worst-case scenario, you get the draw that you could have done anyway. Secondly, you play the same or pretty close to the same team again midweek at Canada. You tried to secure 6 points at the game.
Midweek, that's the weekend game, but yes.
Sorry, middle of the fixture. I apologize. The week. And I think you try to get 6 points out of this. Once that's secured, you put out a team that you think can get a draw and potentially steal a win at Honduras. That's how I would go at it.
Does that mean something more defensive or just something second choice? What's the difference?
I think it's second choice is what I mean when I say that. And in going second choice, I think you inherently might go a little more defensive. And maybe that's not the game where you go a 3-5-2 and you actually go a four-person back line and you go. Maybe see that game.
But
is why I
play two
wish,
holders in that game.
That game is the reason why I would want a third defensive midfielder because Tyler Adams might be spent at that point after two games.
You're not
you
playing
got Acosta, And that's why I'm feeling you want one more defense. And maybe that's where Sands comes in. Maybe that's the game you see Sands play in midfield, and there's a 4-man back line with both Acosta and Sands playing kind of a dual defensive role in the midfield and just try to get that point out of Honduras.
I could see that possibly happening. Okay, so let me again. We come back to El Salvador. You think that starting out strong and then playing your best lineup again with some rhythm against Canada makes sense. If that's the case, and you're gonna have to pick a formation here because again, we don't know what Berhalter's going to do. I mean, BD Smokey saying saying that 3-5-2 is the only way to get all the stars on the field together. And again, that's
not the goal though.
Well, no, right. I'm asking
best
you
lineup you can as a combination.
So here's the thing, though. We don't know if Pulisic going to be available for the first game. So I guess we didn't have to talk through this as if he is going to be available for the first game because how else can you put together a lineup? So, all right, are you going with a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2?
I think we'd be a fool not to because it seems very obvious that would.
It's a 4-3. It's a 3-4-3, right? I mean, I know what BD said, but I think it's a 3-4-3.
Sure. I mean, it's it's going to be two things. That's the honest thing. Defense and offense. It's two different. That's fine.
Sure. That's fair. That is fair. Right. You're defending with three center backs.
You're going to end up seeing Miles Robinson, John Brooks, and I'm going to guess. I don't think it's Walker Zimmerman in this more mobile 3-man back line. I'm not sure who the third one's going to be in that. Who do you think?
Well, it's either Mark McKenzie or Tim Ream.
McKenzie.
So.
It's McKenzie.
Okay.
It's McKenzie in that 3-man back line, and I think maybe Walker Zimmerman. If you do play a 4-man back line in the Honduras game, that's where he kind of features.
So wait, hold on. You just said, I mean, obviously Sands is an option too, and I skipped over him.
I just think he's looked too shaky.
So who are you asking to bring the ball up if you're playing with that 3-man back line?
Miles Robinson looks really comfortable with the ball.
Okay, I mean, I think John Brooks is the best passer of the bunch, but
Agreed.
You want.
But I think you asked who's going to carry. I think he's a good passer, but I think Miles Robinson is better carrying the ball.
Okay, well, you're obviously. I'm just thinking about where those points of entry are going to come and how you're going to pull apart the defense that you're facing, and obviously El Salvador is going to put bodies in the midfield. Here's the thing:
we're going to have a way better midfield than we saw in the Gold Cup when they were struggling to get the ball out of the back. You're going to be playing the ball into the feet of Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie. You're going to have a lot better ball control passing through the middle from the back line. You're not going to have to penetrate quite as much. You're not going to have to ask the central defenders to do quite as much passing and dribbling that I think we saw in the Gold Cup because the level of quality in front of them is going to be higher. Okay,
but you're also pushing your wing backs up. Yeah. So you've got Robinson and Dest is what I would guess.
I think so.
Right?
If you're gonna play the 3-5-2 or whatever we're calling this, whatever phrase, if you're gonna play that 3-man back line, it is worthless unless you're gonna try to get Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson on the field at the same time. That's the only reason you do this.
So I'm just thinking about the attacking approach, right, and bringing the ball forward. And again, who you're asking to make the pass that opens things up. And obviously, if you have width from Dest and Robinson, and they're pushing, obviously they're in midfield effectively, there are options there, then you're asking Tyler Adams to check back to pick the ball up. Is he going to be playing on the turn? Is he going to be playing it wide?
Yeah.
How are these patterns going to work? And then obviously ahead of Tyler Adams, you've got Weston McKennie. He's going to check back too. We know he's going to do things in the midfield. And then who's the other body there?
That's the question. Is it Sebastian Lletget? Is it Gio Reyna? It's one of those two in my mind.
Okay, but pick one. This is what I'm saying. Pick one because...
Okay, you're asking me to pick. It's going to be Sebastian Lletget. I think that's what Berhalter's going to do. I think that's what Berhalter's going to do. I would love to see Gio there.
Yep. Okay. I think it's going to be Sebastian Lletget as well. That's my guess. Not necessarily what I would do. I think against El Salvador, you could risk playing Reyna there to see how it goes. And obviously, you have Lletget on the bench. Maybe you get past an hour. Oh, it's not working. Push Reyna higher. Take him off if he's gassed. Bring Lletget in, and again, you still have some options up top, despite the fact that Tim Weah is now out. And again, we don't know who's going to be replacing. So the forward line. So that's Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, and Sebastian Lletget in the midfield.
Yep.
Who's in the forward line? You're playing again. Vince. By the way, Vince is a spy in this situation. I know he's being a
dirty Canadian.
He's a Canadian. Probably wants us to play a 3-5-2 because it's a bad formation. I'm just kidding, Vince. I'm just giving you a hard time. You probably have to play a 3-man front line because Pulisic is most accustomed to playing wide left in the U.S. system. You don't have enough center forward bodies to play two, I don't think. And you're not going to drop.
The cool thing about this lineup with Anthony Robinson in there as a left wing back is you've seen Dest and Pulisic struggle with two right-footed players playing on that left side.
Yeah.
Who's going to own the channel and who's going to own the space in the middle? With Anthony Robinson being there, I think it's a no-brainer. You're going to see Christian Pulisic at the left side of that front three, and that's going to him penetrating
Pushing
and dribbling
inside.
into the middle is going to open up that channel for Anthony Robinson. I'm excited by that.
Another thing to watch, though, with that, and this is something that they had to figure out at points, Pulisic pushing inside into that channel means Sebastian Lletget has to find different space. So if he's playing there, and Lletget has kind of been known to be in the way on occasion, so I'd like to see, and I don't know, I mean, I'm picturing it, or obviously McKennie can be on that side, but I think typically it's going to be Lletget on the left side at left channel, and then McKennie on the other side, or dropping deep. Who knows? Just something to think about.
I think it's competitive if they have individual marking assignments as well. They may be assigned.
There's that too. All right. So on the other side, since you're putting Lletget in the midfield, that means Reyna starts on the right side. I don't think there's any question about that, right? And then it's just a matter of who your center forward is, Jared.
I think it's going to be Sargent.
Okay.
I think Pifok's the right thing to do. But I think it'll be Sargent.
Okay. Why is Pifok the right thing to do?
I just feel like he gives you a better chance of scoring. I mean, I think he's better on set pieces. I think he's away at El Salvador. You need someone that can take the one chance that falls inside 12 yards. And I trust Pifok to do that more than I do Sargent. But I think Sargent's going to be the guy because he's the guy that really understands the spacing and ball movement more that Borholt is trying to do. And I understand that if that's the way he goes.
Stefan says 4-2-3-1 is what he maybe would see with a possibility. Pulisic, Reyna, and Aronson all on the field together. I don't think Borholt as aggressive.
So you're going to play Serginho Dest and Andy Robinson as straight up defensive fullbacks.
I don't think you can do that. Yeah, Stefan, I don't think you could do that. So, it's just too much. All right, I agree with you pretty much on all of that. Although I think I'm not as worried about Sargent as you are. I think he can score, and I think you need him to score goals in qualifying. So why not get him a start? Hopefully you create something against El Salvador. He gets on the end of the goal, and now you've got him confident going into the game against Canada, going into the game against Honduras. Now, again, we're going to be live after El Salvador, so we'll be able to talk about whatever happened there. We'll be able to look ahead to the game against Canada, and we're going to be live after Canada, too, on Sunday night. So we don't have to necessarily talk about the Canada game. But are you making any significant changes between El Salvador and Canada? Again, with the caveat that Pulisic might not be available for El Salvador.
In theory, no. But I reserve the right to see how guys play in the system and see. You're going to have 90 minutes to change your mind. You're going to have 90 minutes of seeing like, oh, did this work? Did this experiment work? Was he able to get out of the way of Christian Pulisic coming into the middle? Was Josh Sargent able to find those spots in the box to pounce? Was Serginho Dest able to look effective as a wingback, which he has yet to look when playing for the U.S. national team?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So there's some questions to be answered here. Maybe I do see the one change that potentially happens in that game that seems pretty automatic is the Yedlin for Dest switch. For the speed factor of matching up with Alphonso Davies.
So what do you flip Dest then, or you're saying he doesn't play?
Either way, I hadn't even really thought about the left side, to be honest with you. I was just thinking about the right, and Yedlin's a better matchup for the speed of Alphonso Davies. But potentially, if Dest looks good, then you bring him in for Anthony Robinson and keep him on the field to be dangerous. If he doesn't look good, then Anthony Robinson has a chance to make the position his.
See, here's what I'm worried about on some level, and I don't know the answer to this. I mean, this is a Rubik's Cube of a problem that Berhalter's got for this set of games. Can you justify doing that? Maybe get your 6 points, but then you're going to have to sit Adams. You're going to have to sit McKennie. You're going to have to sit Reyna. You're going to have to sit Pulisic if he just played 2 games. And I know there are talented players behind him, but that is wholesale changes. Like, we're not talking about any consistency at all from game to game. If you were making those,
that's why you had a Nations League and a Gold Cup. To get these guys ready for that.
But don't you think it's more likely, just in terms of trying to have a thread through the entire set of games, that he plays 3/4 of the guys he would start in a first-team situation against El Salvador, swaps out a couple of them for the game against Canada, maybe puts together what he thinks is his best team, and then?
So you'd rather have an uncertainty in all 3 games?
Man, I don't know. Is that what that is, though? Is that on uncertainty? Is that what you would call that? I just think and I'm not saying there's any good spots to be like messing around. It's not like, I don't know. It's not like there's one area like, oh, we can hide that player or something. And again, you want to trust everybody. I just find it hard to imagine that Berhalter's going to be like, yeah, complete change of team going into the Honduras game, right? That just seems odd, like as an idea to me.
Maybe it's odd, but you know it's also odd, a 3-fixture window. Like it's different, man. We got to get used to the fact that things are going to be different than any time we've ever seen them in any other World Cup qualifying cycle. So if I'm Berhalter, I'm thinking, how can I be different?
How can you? Okay, I mean,
to match the scenario, you know.
No, and I recognize that. I recognize that the pressure is on to get as many points as possible, and like the pressure is on in the first game against El Salvador. Right? I mean, like you're a favorite. Yes, you're on the road, and we all know CONCACAF can get squirrely, whatever. But you're a favorite. You have this incredible generation of talent. I think I just psyched myself out of saying golden generation because I feel like that's a jinx on some level for some reason. But you have this incredible generation of talent. You come off of 2 trophies over beating Mexico twice, all those things. And if you fall flat against El Salvador, well, yeah, that's a problem, right? So you have to come out flying. You do.
It's not the worst thing in the world because it's an away game. Even if you lose that game, you're really falling 1 point behind your goal. So it's recoverable. You know,
right.
It's just the fact is if you expended all your talent in that game, then that becomes an issue.
Okay, so I believe we had a question earlier from Corey. I believe it is 5 substitutes.
3 windows though.
3 windows, 5 substitutes.
That makes sense.
At least. But last thing I saw is at least through the end of the year they're doing that. I don't know if that's going to change for 2022, like for qualifiers in 2022. It very well could, Corey, but pretty sure right now that it's 5. And the last thing here, this is from BD Smokey. Pulisic, Adams, Gio, McKennie, Dest, 5 mids, Sergeant Aronson up front for El Salvador. Get the goal difference up early. It's like that's some
conspiracy level stuff I'm not even comfortable with.
That's throwing up at that's a lot. I'm just saying that's a lot. I think it'll be a shock if we see Pulisic, Reyna, Aronson, Sargent all on the field together.
I'm surprised if Aronson's starting game 1. Not that I wouldn't love to see it. I don't think he's viable. I'll be surprised if he starts for the first game because that means Gio Reyna's moved into the midfield.
All right. So that's a roster review again, and some look ahead to the matches coming up in the week. And obviously, it's all about qualifying right now. I did want to hand out. We're getting close to the end here. I did want to hand out I think it's just the one. I haven't seen Ricardo Pepi's goals. And by the way, we definitely think Ricardo Pepi's going to play, but I don't think we have him as a starter right now for any of these games. Might start that fixture. He could start against Honduras, absolutely. He gets an O. Now he does. I don't know if he gets an O baby tonight, but Brian Rodriguez gets an O baby for the goal against the Galaxy at Bank of California Stadium. Jared, I know that probably hurt you to watch, but your sexy soccer self.
I mean, you got to applaud an effort like that. I think the guy dribbled 4 dudes and then finished on an extreme angle into the top shelf. I mean, that's a finish that LAFC's been waiting Brian Rodriguez to make for 2 years.
Yeah, and our boy Brendan Hunt, Coach Beard, celebrating with Brian in the stands there.
I'm not cool with that at all.
You're not acknowledging Brendan Hunt being a massive LAFC fan.
I'm acknowledging it. I just don't approve of it.
I'm glad. I'm sure he would be.
Listen, I get it. They're the Hollywood Club, so I mean, there's probably an investor somewhere on that ownership that invests in Apple or something.
Yeah, and shout out to Kevin Frazier too, who from Entertainment Tonight, who calls my radio show on a regular basis to talk about his beloved LAFC. I'm sure he was thrilled with the goal as much as he would have preferred a victory in that game. So 1-0, baby. Did you have a game? We got a couple minutes left, right? Do you want to squeeze this in?
It's a podcast. We're not on the radio. We don't have an out.
There's no hard break. I don't have to get to the national ads. What are you saying?
Hit your mark.
Okay. That's not nobody says hit your mark.
Let's bring Nicky Soup and Salad in for this one. Nicky Soup and Salad. There he is. What's up, Nick?
Not gonna play the drop. Okay, cool. I get it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm off my game. He threw me off my game. There we go.
Not only did you
King of Chicago.
Not only did you not play my drop, I've had a hell of a season with my club, and they scored a banger Friday night. Matsuri's goal should have been an O baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I
I'll
don't
give,
think
I'll give it
anyone's
to
watching.
you. I mean, what else you got? What else you got? Might as well
I'm
give
out.
you a baby. Got nothing
The
else.
slogan "Hell is real" that's on your shirt is like the motto for Cincinnati's season this year.
If I know we're not focused on MLS.
Sorry, buddy.
I do want to acknowledge, by the way, that Freddie Juarez left RSL to go be an assistant in Seattle, which is woo RSL. How you feeling about that, kids? Like, just your partner walked out on you, and
Not only is the grass greener, it's shorter. Like that's like it's not even the same level, you know.
I think there were some things happening in Salt Lake City. Obviously, don't have an owner yet. I don't know if your guy is going to last the season. That's a question. I mean,
Greg Vanny, he's having a hell of a season. I don't know.
not that guy.
Oh.
Obviously, I'm talking about Cincinnati.
The bald
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Does he want to even be there? That's a thing, and I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know why you're starting new topics right now.
I know.
Play the
Gerhard Struber also is the other one. Go ahead, play the game.
Okay, tonight's game, very simple game. It's a game of two choices. Okay, it's a little game of which is older. Okay, I'm going to give you a U.S. soccer player, event, personality. Okay, and I'm
All right.
going to give you one from pop culture, and all you simply have to do is tell me which is older.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And we'll go each time. You guys will each have a pick. We'll alternate who goes first. Okay.
Okay.
So in the first
So
one,
we can pick the same.
you can pick the same, but there's also some game theory there. Whether or not you want to, if you want to play for points or you want to play for what you think the answer is. As you fall behind, you may want to play for points.
Sure.
And go against your best interests. But it will
I
alternate
don't
every
understand
time.
what you just said. That it made no sense. But okay, go ahead.
Nick is a man who plays games. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sorta. Yeah.
God damn
You
it,
can't
you're supposed to be on my
choose to
side.
be wrong to win a game. That doesn't.
No, you can
that's
choose
not
to
how that
match
works.
them or not. If you whether or not you want to match them, if you want
I
to
see.
close them out by matching them on points, or if you want to go on your own points on the side.
I
Yeah, I
see.
understood that
see.
part.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
First, either or. And Nick, you'll be going first.
Oh, okay.
So Nick, tell me.
Just because he doesn't like me.
No, you won the last game. That's why I'm not.
Oh,
He
okay.
always
Yeah.
wins.
That's what it is.
Listen, you got a 50-50 chance of winning this game, Nick.
Fair enough.
Okay. Nick, tell me.
better than Cincinnati odds. That's for
Oh.
sure.
Nick, tell me, which is older, the iPod or Julian Araujo?
Okay, so I'm guessing the iPod came out around 04, 05-ish.
Okay.
That would be 16
Now, just
years
to
ago.
realize that Jason gets to guess still, so more
I
you
know.
talk it out aloud,
I
while
know.
great for the show, is helping Jason or hurting him if you're giving bad information. To be honest with you,
Julian Araujo.
That's good. That is game theory. To say
is game
wrong
theory.
things.
I will say. I'm gonna go Araujo.
Araujo is older. Jason, what are you going to go with? iPod?
Oh,
or
you're
Julian
that.
Araujo?
Oh, that's okay. You're not giving the answer. I thought you were saying he's correct. I'm gonna say Araujo is also older. Yes, I'm going same answer.
The answer is Julian Araujo by exactly 2 months. Or almost exactly months. So
Wow.
iPod came
I
out
thought,
in
I thought there was
October.
like a year or two in there as buffer.
The,
No,
iPod,
wow.
the iPod was released in October 23rd, 2001.
Oh,
Julian
wow.
Araujo was born in August of the same year, 2 months before.
Wow.
So 1 point for each of you on that round.
I do not remember the iPod coming out while I was in college.
2001.
2001, first generation iPod.
Wow.
Playing all
Yeah, it
the
held
songs you
nothing.
burned off Napster.
Yeah, that's true. It had no
I don't think
space.
iTunes was
either,
even
right?
out then. I don't think they had iTunes to go with
Wasn't
it
the
just
first
yet.
generation iPod like that thick? Wasn't it like?
Yeah, it was super. It was a brick.
yeah.
And
was
it
a brick,
clicked.
right?
Remember when you actually went around on the wheel?
Ah,
It clicked.
Do remember that now? Yeah.
All right, tell me, Jason, as they're going 1st this round, which is older,
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Arena or the credit card? The invention of the credit card.
All right. Let's see. The Bruce.
I tried to do sliced bread, but it turns out that sliced bread was quite older than Bruce Arena.
All right. I think the Bruce is. I think the Bruce is very close to my parents' age. I think he's
Which would be
very
what?
close to my age.
Unless
I think
you
he
want
was.
to say for Nick.
I think the Bruce is late 50s in terms of the year when he was born. So that would put
Okay.
him. Yeah. That would put. Yeah. I think the credit card is older. I think the credit card is older. than the
Nick,
Bruce.
what are you going to go with?
I'm also going to go with the credit card.
The first credit card, in case you were wondering, was the Diners Club.
Uh-huh.
And it was invented in 1950. Bruce Arena was born in 1951. You're both correct.
Wait, Bruce Arena was born in 51. He's older than my parents
51.
by 6 years. Holy crap. Wow.
Bruce Arena is 1 year
You took
younger.
your
than
your
the credit
Diners
card.
Club card and you went down to the Copacabana and you had your dinner
There
and
you
the
go.
show situation. That's what
That's
you
a
did.
classy
Time out.
way to
Look,
dine.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm doing the math in my head here. You tell me he was born in 1951?
Yes, he is 70 years old this year.
Holy
The Bruce is
cow.
not a
I think he's
young
69
guy.
still. I don't think he's turned yet. I think it's later in the.
That's I thought he was like 65-ish, but yeah.
Who's the oldest coach in Major League Soccer history?
Oldest
be
in
him, right?
history. Ooh, he might be the oldest in history. He might be. Who's older than the Bruce?
How old was Ziggy? No, Ziggy wasn't that old.
No, Ziggy wasn't that old.
Wow.
Ziggy
Bruce
was
Arena
not-
looks older. I mean, Brad Bradley looks older, but he's not.
Brad Bradley. Bob Bobley?
Bob Bobley?
Brad Bobley.
Man,
Bob
I can't
Bradley.
think of anyone else to probably be. Wait, Thomas Wrong? No, Thomas. Never mind.
No,
he just wears bow
not-
ties. It
no.
makes him look
When-
old.
When he coached, he was like in
Yeah,
his
DC, yeah,
like
back
early
then.
50s, late 40s.
Interesting. Okay.
There might be like some I don't know, some guy way back in the maybe the early days
Maybe.
of MLS.
Yeah,
that
maybe in the
brought someone
earliest
over.
years, there was an old guy. I can't remember
69
that.
though, and still leading the league. Let's not
yeah,
forget.
that's the nicest age, by the way. He's
Okay.
at the nicest age.
Nick, your turn in this round.
Yeah.
Nick, tell me, which is older, Tim Ream or the Sega Genesis?
Okay.
Because you know that you had the Sega Genesis. The question is, when did you have a Sega Genesis?
I did not have a Sega Genesis
What?
at that time.
I was not a Genesis family either. We were Nintendo.
Yeah.
We were a
Yeah, we were
Nintendo
Nintendo.
family. We went into our friend's house to play the Genesis, but we
How'd you
were a
play
Nintendo
Ultra
family.
Beast?
We didn't. We had to go to our friend's house to play Ultra Beast. And I think like
Sonic.
I remember definitely Mortal Kombat was only Genesis, right? Because then
Yes.
Nintendo was too family friendly.
Yeah.
So I had to go to my
Sure.
buddy's house for Genesis I think that's right.
Until PlayStation.
maybe
I think
the-
they had it on PlayStation. But
I
it's
thought I
definitely
played
on
Mortal
Genesis.
Kombat on my buddy's Super Nintendo.
Maybe it eventually came out on Nintendo. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But
All right,
what's
Nick.
older?
Which
Tim
is
Ream or
older,
the Sega
Tim Ream
Genesis?
or Sega Genesis?
Genesis is probably coming out in early 90s, 92, 93. That would put him. I'll go Genesis.
Sega Genesis. Nick, what are you gonna go? I'm sorry, Jason. What are you gonna go with?
Let me think about this for a second. I know that Timothy Ream is the oldest player on this roster, and I believe he's 33 years old, which would make him, 21, another 12 years. I'm going to say that Tim Ream is older than the Genesis.
The Sega Genesis was released in 1988.
Oh.
Tim Ream was born in 1987.
No.
So Tim Ream is older. Tim Ream
We
is
did
older than the
it.
Sega Genesis.
I did it.
All right. That gives Jason 3 points to Nick's 2. And next round, Nick, Jason, you're going first. Tell me, Jason, which is older, Tyler Adams or the release date of Varsity Blues?
This is the show. I mean, the movie with
movie,
the
come on.
movie. Yeah.
Toss me
Sorry,
one,
I got
son.
it. I got it. By the way,
I
that
don't
was
want your life.
the worst Texas accent in the world was the guy who played
I don't
his dad,
want your life.
Moxton's dad. I don't want your life.
Toss me one, son.
What does he say? Puke and Riley. Puke and Riley.
So whatever
Varsity
this is, just remember,
Blues.
that means Skeeter.
Yeah.
Scott Kahn was roughly
watched
20 years
this
old
movie
at this time.
Not more than 6 months ago for reasons I don't even
So
recall.
tell
I
me,
think I was just like,
Tyler Adams alive when it came out?
no. Tyler Adams is not. I think Varsity Blues is older than Tyler Adams.
Okay. And Nick, what are you going to go with?
So I'm guessing.
First of all, Nick, have you seen Varsity Blues?
I have.
Okay, all right, just making sure. I didn't think about that
Whipped
when I made
cream
this game.
bikini.
That part of the tape is worn out, huh?
Oh, you know it. See, this is where not knowing the age of these American players is biting me in the ass right now. Because I know when the movie came out. I remember being in high school when that movie came out. So
Okay.
I agree with Jason. I think I'm going Varsity Blues.
Tyler Adams was born on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1999.
Good Lord.
Varsity
Lord.
Blues premiered
98.
1 month before on January 15th, 1999. Varsity Blues is indeed older, so a point for
That's
both of our players.
amazing. You are making this impossible, by the way. We're just getting lucky.
There's a couple I had. Okay, the next one was no, actually, hold on, I'm gonna change the order. Okay, here, I got one for you right here.
1999.
right.
Tyler Adams was born when I was like, wow,
I was still in high school.
He's 20th century. That makes him old on this team.
Graduated.
He was born in the 20th century. You know how many guys on this team can't say that?
I know, right? Yeah, they probably call him an old man. You were born in the 1900s. I can't believe you were born in the 1900s, bro. Can't believe that, bro.
Nick, you're
Yeah.
going first here.
Yeah.
Tell me, which is older, Clint Dempsey or the Olsen twins?
Ooh, I like that. Interesting.
This
'Cause
is one of the hardest ones I made because Olsen
You
twins have been
only
around
think-
forever.
You only think of the Olsen twins as kids. I do. I never watched any of their older stuff, so I only
Right.
think of them as kids.
Yeah, because they've been around forever, right? So that makes you think they're old, but are they really old?
This is
I
how
mean,
you
Based
have
on this
Clint
game
Dempsey?
and based on the last question, I bet you the Olsen twins are like a day older than Clint Dempsey.
I will tell you right now. Actually, I'm not giving no hints. No hints.
One nation. Under the radar.
I'll go the Olsen twins are older.
Jason, what are you going to go with?
Let's see. I think that the Olsen twins were probably around five. I think Clint Dempsey is. No, I think the Olsen twins are older. I think the Olsen twins are older than Clint Dempsey.
I really wanted you to say Dempsey so I could say, you got it, dude, but you both lost. Clint Dempsey is 3 years older than the Olsen twins.
Oh, geez.
So I finally gave you one with some breath in it.
Okay.
So Clint
So,
Dempsey
well-
born in 1983, Olsen twins born in 1986.
1986. I was thinking like they were like 4 or 5 during the run of Full House.
I think they were 2.
Yeah, they were
3.
younger.
Okay, maybe 2. So yeah, I couldn't remember when Full House started exactly. I knew it was like 90-ish. So
You
I was
got it,
pretty,
dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You could have said something with a Clint Dempsey accent, to like you could have done an impression of Clint Dempsey instead, and you chose the Olsen twins. You got it, dude.
I should have said, Jason, you're about that.
Do you think
work.
that like that they had a problem on set? Like one of them said it with a different inflection. Like, no, you have to say it exactly like your sister. Probably.
Yeah, I'm guaranteeing that probably happened. All right, so tell me, this is going to be
For
Jason
Jason.
first. Who's older, or which is older,
Mm-hmm.
Julian Green or Google?
Julian Green or Google. Julian Green went to the 2014 World Cup when he was 18-ish. I think that's about right. So he would have been born in 96. And Google was started by those guys from Stanford in the late 90s. I think Julian Green is older than Google.
Nick, what
That's
do you
my
think?
guess.
And
Jared,
just
how
so
many
you know,
more
Nick,
of these
I
are
have-
there?
There's 2 more after. I was just going to tell you, there's 2 more after this because I know you're playing game theory right now.
You guys got to stop saying the phrase game theory. It makes you sound really douchey. I'm just going to say and Nick
that's
hasn't
the
said it
thing.
once. I know, he hasn't said it once.
Hey, listen, I
think he
get
wanted
it.
to
I get it.
bust.
You grew up bullying nerds, so you're doing it now too.
Oh my God, you have no concept of my
You want to give us
childhood.
virtual
All right.
wedgies too?
Yeah,
So-
no concept of my childhood.
I don't ever remember using Google when I was in high school.
Doesn't mean it didn't exist, though.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Jason, you said what? You said Julian
I'm going
Green's
Julian
older?
Green. Yeah, I'm going Julian Green. You could go differential here. I think it might be a smart move
Man.
to go differential.
I will go.
Don't listen to him, Nick. You make your own mind up.
Be your own man, Nick. Be your own man.
He's bullying you again.
I'll go with Google being older.
The correct answer is Julian Green. Julian Green, born in 1995. Google founded as the algorithm in 1996 while they're at Stanford, but actually released online in 1998. So either both of those dates are after Julian Green, though. So
Yeah, that's what I figured too.
that takes Jason
Yeah.
to 5 to Nick's 3. So Nick needs both the next 2 and Jason to miss. So Jason could be a kind of a jerk and just match him on one of these, but he's going first. No, you're not. Nick's going first this round. Nick, tell me, which is older, MLS or the Nintendo 64, which you said you had.
I did have and still have it.
So which is older, MLS as an entity, or
Are you talking about the
Nintendo
first
64?
game, or are you talking
First
about when it
game,
was
first
founded?
game, first game.
The first game was 96.
DCU Clash,
Eric Winalda, goal. San Jose Clash.
Echeverry Hair.
I'm trying to remember when this, because I remember my buddy getting a 64. Now I'm trying to remember which year of high school.
By the way, in the chat, there's the word Lycos just came up because we were talking about Google 90s. And when's the last time
You
we
guys
thought
are
about Lycos or
Lycos.
Alta
Oh my
Vista?
gosh.
Like this. Alta Vista. Ask Jeeves.
Going to Alta Vista on my Netscape browser.
Yeah, man. That was the height of technology, bro. What
I
email
will
address
say-
you get?
I still have mine. It was Hotmail. It still is.
I know. You're a weirdo. At least it's not an AOL address, though.
Yeah,
I want to
come on.
say,
You want to say?
I'm going to say
CompuServe?
Nintendo came out. Nintendo probably
CompuServe.
came out right at Christmas time, not 95, and Major League Soccer played spring 96. So I will go Nintendo 64 is older.
Jason, what you gonna go with?
Well, in the spirit of bringing it down to the wire, I will go in the opposite direction. So I will say MLS is older than Nintendo 64 because if Nick gets the point, we at least get to go in that last round with some hope of.
As you guys
something fun.
know, MLS kicked off in spring, April of '96. The Nintendo 64 was released June 23rd, 1996, 2 months after the founding of MLS. Jason locks out Nick for the win, but just to have fun, here's the last one for you.
All right.
Jason, tell me, which is older, Josh Sargent or NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye?
Bye, bye, bye. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to
Really?
say bye, bye, bye.
Okay,
Yeah,
just that
going
easy
bye,
for
bye,
you.
bye. Yeah,
I'll go
sure.
Sargent.
Yeah.
Sargent, NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye, the hit single, lead single off their album, came out on January 18th, 2000.
Cool.
Josh Sargent was born February 20th of that same year, 1 month later.
Wow.
Bye 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 is older.
Screw
Jason
this game.
with a point.
Stupid. These games are stupid. Why do I even play?
Because
I've
we
lucked
love
out
you.
on most of those. Come on, that you know from listening to that. It's not like I was. I really got a.
I'll say this:
Rolodex.
Jason has the advantage of actually probably knowing what the fact he knew Tim Ream was 33 helped, like in that round.
Yeah, but I did the math on Julian Green a little bit. I got close. I wasn't exactly. It was a year. Well, not that far, but still, yeah. I mean, I guess that does help. Okay.
But think about it though. When Julian Green got picked over Landon Donovan, which was a thing in itself. He was 18 years old, right? And it was we have an 18-year-old that actually is getting called up for the World Cup. And
Yeah, right.
look
They're
at our
freaking out.
roster right now. There was
Yeah.
one 18-year-old, and we
Yeah.
freaked out back then.
Yeah. And an 18-year-old who was like a reservist for Bayern Munich had never played a game for them.
Yeah.
Remember? Never even stepped on the field for Bayern Munich. They're like, oh my god! And yeah, we were pissed about Landon being left off. We thought it was the
Yeah.
wrong decision and whatever.
It was.
But you at least you could come around to like, oh gosh, we got an 18-year-old kid at Bayern Munich, and now it's like 18, whatever. You see Giovanni Reina score this weekend? The
Yeah.
kid is the
That
kid's
first touch
confidence
away
level.
from pressure and still be able to finish was so nice.
He did a sliding finger guns. Jared was all over it. He,
Oh yeah, knee slides and finger guns. I told you it's the new somersault and cartwheels
Oh,
and
my-
somersaults.
God, knee slides and finger guns. Man, we got to figure out what to label that. We need T-shirts, knee slides and finger guns. Got to come.
Your
Gotta happen.
Tifo shirt place doesn't already have that
All
thing.
right. Speaking of the U.S. men's national team, this is the last thing I'll say before we get out here on this episode. USMNT account has just tweeted out players arriving in Nashville. Christian Pulisic there in his mask, but unmistakable, rolling
on.
into Nashville. We knew he was traveling. Whether he can play is still a different question. But there you go, bunch of guys getting in. All right, that's
I
it.
guess he tested negative.
Any other business? Any other items?
Just a
we
reminder.
gotta-
Oh,
no,
oh.
Mickey Soup and Salad has something he needs to say. Go ahead.
That's right. We got one review this week. This is coming from Apple Podcasts. This is JDad4. Simply the best. I've been listening to Jared and Jason for probably a decade or more. Their coverage of the 2014 World Cup qualifiers and tourney was epic. These dudes never disappoint. The MLS and US team analysis is thoughtful, funny, and sometimes inappropriate. I'm an old guy, 58 in a week, So sometimes I don't get all of the cultural references. Okay, so I almost
far the
never
other
get
way.
the cultural references. Despite that, I always learn something new and have a laugh or two as I take my daily walk. If I had one complaint, it's that Nicky Soup and Sausage doesn't get enough airtime.
Woo!
We
Look
need
at that.
more Nick. By the way, I hear that FC Cincinnati is coming to Foxborough as tonight's opponent. Lambs to the slaughter, Nick. Lambs to the slaughter. Jay in Boston. Thank you.
Well, we usually worry about skewing too far and too old. For this listener, we're not skewing old enough, with our references.
I
And
guess.
by the way,
Yeah.
Nick's getting like beat on the regular on the show right now. Like he's getting plenty of airtime, getting just beat down by Jason Davis. It's not my fault.
Next time you play this game.
I need to start giving Nick the ideas for the games. That way I can play them. Then he can research them. and
Yes,
come
I know
up with
you
the
want to play
answers.
too. I was going to say the next time we play this particular game, you got to throw in which is older, pop culture event or the best soccer show. Because after our man just mentioned a decade or whatever we've been doing, it's not. I don't think it's quite a decade.
I think 2011, dude.
I don't. It might be 2000. It might have been my birthday, 2011. We might be coming up on 10 years.
Wow, you think we'd
October
be celebrating that
3rd.
somehow?
Well, hopefully we'll have a bunch of points in the bag in World Cup qualifying, and we have reason to celebrate.
10 years
on this
chronologically, 7 years doing it.
Yeah, that's true. We took a break there. We went on a sabbatical. We toured
We had to
Europe.
find
men's team
ourselves.
did.
Yeah,
What?
we had to find
Just
ourselves.
like the men's team did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
Those two
again,
things lined up pretty close.
what I said, the U.S. men's national team never missed a World Cup when the best soccer show was on the air. We don't intend to start now. So just keep that in mind, boys and girls. All right, patreon.com/the best soccer show if you want to jump in there. It's a lot of more Nicky Soup and Salad over on the bonus episodes.
A couple
and all
new
of
guys
that.
joining in this week as well. I don't think you have the names on them right now, but all of our new joiners, thanks for coming along. I hope you're enjoying the content. Ted Lasso slacks, the beer slacks, music slacks, all the different kinds of slacks.
A no spoilers Ted Lasso.
Bugle Boy slacks.
There is spoilers, but you can avoid the spoil. It's a thing happening over there. All of that is going on. Okay, and yeah, again, reminders here. I know this is like a super jam-packed, extra big episode. We are live after USA El Salvador on Thursday night. That is going to be roughly a midnight kickoff for the show. So make sure you hit your subscribe button so you can get notified. I don't know, make some coffee on that night so you can stay up with us for a little while after the game to do response and analysis and everything else. We'll be live after the game against Canada on Sunday as well. So your next 2 visits with us will be live shows, lots of calls, lots of all the stuff you want to do here on the Best Soccer Show, which is the whole point. All right, I'm getting kind of loopy now. Anything else? Are we done? We got to go?
That's it, dude.
All right, we'll talk to you guys on Thursday night. See you then. Bye.
Danger zone! Duh and or hello.
Oh, it's incredible!
The Sausage King of Chicago.
The horror show.
What are we doing?
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
What? We just become best friends? Yep.
Until we die. We're right until we die. We're running but we go all night. We're right until we die.
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer.
Danger zone!
Damn, dog, that's in a pouch.
What have you done for me lately?